I was 14 years old. It was the start of a summer. My dad came to my older brother Steve and I, and he said, I'm going to get a job for you for the summer. You're not just going to sit around. I'm going to raise you into capable young men who know how to work. And you're going to go get a job. What, Dad? It's summertime. This is the time to play. What do you mean we have to work? He goes, I'm going to find a job for you. And he did. The next week, he said, you're to show up tomorrow at your new job. I said, where are we going to be working, Dad? He says, I won't tell you. Just put on your work clothes and I'll take you. They'll be waiting for you. Steve and I put on our work clothes and he drove us down in the town that we lived in to the local waste management company. Literally. I said, Dad, how could you? You got us a job at a dump yard? And I remember he goes, a job is a job. I wasn't very happy about it, but there was no choice. We got in the car, we drove down. He said, the foreman is right in that door, he'll be waiting for you. And we walked through the door, the foreman was there. He walked us in early in the morning to this big room where there were probably 20 other workers that had worked there for 20 years, all in their green uniforms, drinking their coffee, ready to start another day. And I remember here are two teenage boys, 14 and 15 years old, that walk in, and you know what? The foreman says, here's how you use a time clock. You punch in the morning, you punch out during lunch and back in, and then you make sure you punch your time clock at the end of the day. If you don't do that, you'll mess it all up and it'll cause problems. So you want to make sure you punch in and punch out. Okay, sir, okay. And then he invited us to go with our supervisor for the day. Not knowing what we were going to do, the supervisor took us out the back door. Took us on a little ride out to about 20-acre pile of garbage. I don't know, 50 feet high. At the top of this heap of garbage, there was a portable toilet. That was the one place we tried to get to. But you know what? They kept everyone 50 yards apart. They wouldn't let you talk to your coworkers or even my own brother. We're sitting there working. Our job responsibility was to pick out metal from all the trash and put it in a bag. I remember, my friends, picking out metal from diapers. It stunk. I remember as I was working, picking up metal, trying to fill up my bag. I would look over at Steve, and I would see Steve looking over at me like, there is no way I am going to keep doing this job. And I was thinking the same thing, no way. So we signaled each other, right? They wouldn't let us talk, so we signaled each other like, go to the bathroom. You go now, I go in 2 minutes, I go up to the bathroom, and we're going to huddle, and we're going to make some serious decisions here. So we did. We made our way up to that bathroom on the top of this pile of garbage. Oh, and it stunk. We get up there. I remember our supervisor's eyes were on us. I didn't care. Steve and I get up there, at the top of that heap of garbage, and Steve goes, there is no way I'm going to continue working here. I said, I agree with you. He says, but what do you think Dad's going to say? I don't care what Dad says. Steve goes, okay, we're going to go into the first break, and we're going to quit. I said, Steve, you're a better communicator than me. You're older than me. I always leaned on you for communication. You got to be the spokesperson. Steve goes, I will, because I'm not working another day in this dump yard. So break comes. All the workers, the men that have been there for 15, 20 years, were sitting there drinking their coffee, and here come these two little teenagers, new on the job, walking in. After a few minutes of scanning our situation, right, we decided to tell the foreman. We said, Mr. Foreman, my brother and I have discussed a few things. And this is literally what he said. And we've decided to retire. You laugh. You laugh, and so did the other 20 men in that room. They all laughed at us like, oh my goodness, we quit. He said, well, the payphone is over there. You better call your dad to pick you up. We called Dad, pick us up. He goes, why are you done so early? He goes, oh, they didn't have a lot of work for us to do. Just come and pick us up. My dad was always cool, though. He pulled up in the car. Why are you guys done so early? What happened? We resigned. We quit. You quit? Hoisingtons don't quit. Dad, we quit. And here's what I notice, and I'm not trying to demean those types of jobs, those types of workers, because they are necessary. We need them in our communities. We need them in our country. There is nothing wrong, inherently wrong with those jobs. That is not my point. I work with frontline workers of all types of organizations all around the country and even the world. And I tell you, these people are good people. They work hard. They have attitudes that want to serve their families and do what's right for those that they love. There's nothing wrong with it. But I knew for me, standing in there, that was not my future. And there might be just some of you in here that have decided that that's not your future either. And here's what I started from that point as a 14-year-old. I started to look at people differently. I started to look at, well, what does it that separates the high achievers from the lower achievers? I started to look at, well, wait a minute. It can't just be this and it can't just be that, because I've seen so many different. I saw short people that were successful and tall people that were successful. I saw honest people that were successful, and I saw dishonest people that were successful. What could the laws be then? What could be the difference? I saw people that were driving nice cars, only to find out later it was the person that was driving the clunker that had a greater net worth. It's a big difference. I thought, what are the actual differences? It can't be where you grew up. It can't be, what kind of a background you have. That is not enough to determine success. And then through research and through life, of learning a few things on my own, I learned that success comes down to laws. And I want to share some laws with you today. If you remember, some of you have already read If You Think You Can. The subtitle of If You Think You. The subtitle of If You Think You Can is 13 laws that govern the performance of high achievers. Every time I have worked with people or myself, when I haven't succeeded like I should have, I have realized that it's always come down to a missing one or two of those 13 laws. Period. You can take that to the bank. Every time. But those 13 laws really do matter in terms of whether you succeed or whether you don't. Let me just give you a couple simple ones real quick. Here's what I've learned. Success is not a respecter of person. It's a respecter of disciplines. Success is not a respecter of persons, individuals, as much as it's a respecter of disciplines. The daily, simple, repeated disciplines over time eventually have a compounding effect. Here's another law that I've since learned. All blessings or rewards in life are predicated on laws. You can argue that gravity isn't real until you fall off that cliff or you step off that building. You can fight it all you want, but there are seasons that work in time. We live in a culture that wants to go from planting the seed to jumping to the harvest. You hear what I'm saying? And we're forgetting that middle part, which is cultivation. It's the law of the harvest. You plant the seed, you reap what you sow through planting the seed, cultivating the seed, and then harvesting. You want to make sure that you don't miss one of those crucial laws that will lead to success. You can't skip. You can't skip the sun. You can't skip the water. You can't skip, my friends, the nourishment.